मेहर बाबा 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 मेहर बाबा.
So today we are going to go through one of the discourses given by Baba named Reincarnation and Karma. So this discourse, Reincarnation and Karma, Baba gave it in 7 parts. First part is significance of death. Second part, which is about heaven and hell. What is heaven, what is hell, what happens inside, and is that same as what we see in the movies and all that. Lot of interesting topics we get to know in the second part. And following that, once the heaven or hell experience is over, we take the next birth. So when we take the next birth, do we remember the previous birth or not? Why not? Are there any exceptions? Those kind of details are covered in the part 3. And then part 4 talk about the specific conditions of incarnation. Once you complete one life, go through heaven or hell experience, and then take the next life, what are the conditions? How your next life is designed? What are the factors contribute to your next life? How it should be? Those kind of fine details will be there in that part. And then the need for female and male incarnations. In these 84 lakhs of human life cycles, we have to take births as male and female also. Just because we have mustache today, that does not mean that we can live with the mustache for 84 lakhs life cycles. No, we have to take the female lives as well. As similarly, female people will have to take the male life. And what is the need for that? Why do we have to do that? Those kind of details will come in there. So up to the part 1 to 5, it is all about reincarnation. All details about the reincarnation. And then 6th is operations of karma through successive lives. Law of karma, Karma Sidhantha, what it is, how it operates, and it gives lots of details and it helps us how to behave in this world. Every chapter is very, very helpful. Lots of great details are there. And in the chapter 6, we get to know more about the law of karma, otherwise known as Karma Sidhantha. And then finally, the last chapter is about the destiny of the reincarnation of the individual. Once all these reincarnations are done, then what happens? Then what happens? Where is the destiny? What is the nature of the destiny? This kind of conclusive information is in the 7th part. But to start with, we are going to focus on the first part, which is the significance of death. Why should we fear about the death? It is imminent. It is eventual. Is it not? The biggest fear we carry in our life is fear of death. Just because we fear a lot about death, can we stop the death? Very logical question, right? Then what is the point of fearing about it? It is an eventual process. Of course, in this discourse, we are going to get all the fine details behind death and after death, all those details. But first of all, if we look at this and ask a very simple question, your fear is not going to stop, then what is the point of having the fear? Basic question, right? And this death is imminent for a common man. This death is imminent for an idiot. This death is imminent for a great person. Anybody, regardless of whether the person is common or below common or above great person, death is imminent. Is it not? And death is imminent not only for a human being but also for the God. For example, Shirdi Sai Baba was God. After some years, Shirdi Sai Baba had to face the death, and other perfect masters who attained the godhood, the highest achievement anybody can get in this universe, who attained the godhood, they still have to face the death. And Avatar, The God who is formless keeps coming in the human form amidst of us. But whenever he comes, he still has to face the death and drop the body. So even God, there is no exception for God for the death. So it is very natural and it is part of this life process. Why it is so part of the natural process? We will get all those details in this discourse. To understand death, we need to have clarity on what is life first of all. We see death as an opposite of life. If we have to define life, how do we define the life? What is life? In simple words, anybody? If somebody asks what is life, what is your answer?
Mystery.
Sorry?
Maybe it's a mystery.
No, what we are going through.
Whatever we are going through is life. Very good, right?
It's a mystery.
Life is a mystery, and we will clear that mystery. Life is defined as a duration of time. And for this duration, what is the starting point? What is the ending point? Birth is the starting point. Death is the ending point. The time duration between the birth and death is defined as life. Correct? And at the time of death, we will say the life is lost. The life is over. This is the general perception everybody has. But is that true? We will verify that in this discourse. So a lot of questions are, what is going to happen at the end of the death? After the death, what is going to happen to us? We lived so many years on this earth, forming so many relations with objects, places and people. What is going to happen to all this? What is the meaning of all these relations? What is the meaning of all the experiences on the earth? What is going to happen? Beyond death, what is there? Generally, death is seen as the end for all. Nothing is going to be there. Even you are not going to be there. So these are the general perceptions. This lack of knowledge of what is going to happen after the death is the root cause of the fear of death. Simply because you don't know, you are carrying the fear. But if you get to know what is going to happen after the death, if you get to know all those details, whether it is really a complete termination or not, then your fear will be gone. That's what we are going to learn in this discourse. So what we are going to do is, Baba is giving the perception of death from various angles. So we are going to cover each angle. In a general perception, death is a mournful thing. It is a sad thing. It is a fearful, frightening thing for us, right? As you all admitted, this is the biggest fear we carry, and often, every day, we are securing our life by being careful, by not walking in the middle of the street, right? Why we walk only on the side of the road? To save our life. Why do we clean our hands before eating? To save our life, right? So in every effort, whatever we do on a daily basis, we are everywhere, whenever we take the care, we are being careful to save this life. Indirectly, unconsciously, we are fearing the death. We are avoiding the death by being careful, by carrying the fear. So, death is always associated with sadness, fearfulness, frightening thing. And even if a neighbor is passed away, for a moment we get depressed. We generally take that as a shock. Oh, that guy, I know that old person. He used to go for walking every morning. I used to see him. I saw him this morning. And within few hours, he passed away. This is a shock. It gives a shock for us. And we get depressed. The depression may be lasting only for a few days. After that, again, we will be back to the normal life. Correct? But for the moment, it is a shock and it is a depression. This is the general reaction that we already know. So what are the other aspects of the death? Death, sometimes it is invited upon us as the biggest sacrifice. If you give 10 rupees if you donate 10 rupees to somebody, that is a sacrifice. You are sacrificing your hard-earned money, 10 rupees. No doubt. If you give all your property to some charity organization, keep bare minimum for your maintenance, and give all your property, crores of property, to charity organizations. That is a sacrifice. You sacrificed all your property. So if we go to the person who sacrificed the property, and there is a reason where at least one human being has to sacrifice their life. Since you have sacrificed your property, since we know that you are a big sacrificing person, we request you to sacrifice your life. Will he do it? He or she? So it is easy to sacrifice crores of rupees, big properties, but it is difficult to sacrifice the life. If somebody is sacrificing their life for the cause of others, it is seen as the biggest sacrifice. Some examples are our army securing our borders. In the process of securing the borders, army people don't die only when the war comes. No. Death happens even when there is no war. There are a lot of incidents happening. The most recent popular incident is Pulwama, where some army people died. Those kind of incidents always happen. Lot of army families are losing their earning person and head of the family, husband, father. This much loss army families are facing. So they are sacrificing their lives to secure our lives. In addition, if you take one more example, during the freedom struggle, so many people sacrificed their lives. So many people went in front of British police knowing that their lives will be lost. Knowing that their lives will be lost, they dared to oppose the British rule. May it be Jallianwala Bagh, may it be so many Hartals. And because of those sacrifices, today we are enjoying a free country. Whereas on the same earth, there are certain countries where people are not completely free as we are. They cannot express their opinions. They cannot choose their own religion. If they are born in this country, they have to stick to one particular religion. Having born in a particular country, they cannot believe in any other God form. They are forced to believe only one God form. They are forced to live under so many restrictions. They cannot go for the college. They are allowed only for primary education up to 7th standard. After that, especially ladies. Ladies are not allowed in some countries to go to the school after 7th class. 7th class is the highest education they can get. They are not expected to know anything what is happening in the world. They are not expected to go outside for market alone. They have to be accompanied by one man. These are only few examples. Lots of restrictions are there. Whereas in our country, we are living a free life. And this is a gift by all the people who sacrificed their lives to eradicate the British rule. So, sacrification of the life is always seen as the highest sacrifice. Sometimes the death is also invited upon one individual, not as a sacrifice, but as an escape from the problems, which we call as suicide. People think people who are facing a lot of difficulties, a lot of problems that they cannot solve, lot of difficulties that they cannot face, they choose to welcome the death upon them, what we call as suicide, as an escape to the problems, as an escape to these difficulties. Now the question is it really an escape? Is it really an escape? Or are you supposed to face these challenges and problems even after the suicide? Those details we will learn in a very fine manner. I am seeing already some heads nodding their heads. No. It is not an escape. Good, you all have that general understanding. But what about the general public outside? Right? Do all believe in the same thing? If they really believe in that, why there is an escalation in the suicides, especially in the students, young communities, highly educated? I gave this example, real example, in one of the previous talks, but I will still bring it up. There was a news in a paper that one IIT student, a girl student, committed suicide by hanging to the fan in the hostel. It happened in Chennai IIT. So this girl photograph was posted in the newspaper. She was looking very beautiful. Chubby, bright face, beautiful face. So she has the beauty. IIT students, she has the dimag. IIT is an expensive study. Their parents have the money. And she also has the jealousy of so many people who could not get the IIT seat. People are jealous that she was able to crack through the IIT and I could not get secure the seat. She has that much richness. And ask me why she committed suicide. What is the cause? She is a meritorious student. There are 5 papers. In 5 examinations, 4 papers, she was the class topper, number 1. 4 papers. And in the 5th paper, she did not fail. She passed. She got good marks. But she did not get the number 1 rank in the 5th paper. That's what happened. How silly it is, right? Just because you don't get the topper. In the 5th paper, you got 4 toppers already. You are the number 1 in the class in 4 subjects. 5th subject, you are not number 1. Having this beauty, having so much of life ahead, so much money, education, intellect, jealousy, people having jealousy on you, all this richness is forgotten, and then life is ended for a simple, silly reason. Do you think those people know that the suicide is not an escape? They think it is an escape. She could not tolerate the pain, the suffering coming out of not being the topper in the 5th paper also. How selfish is that? I didn't feel sympathetic to that life. It is a highly selfish thinking. In other words, highest selfishness kills us. Highest selfishness kills us. If we are selfish, we think we are being better than others. But when it grows, it can kill us. What Baba is saying is, the overwhelming importance we give to death is because of our association with the forms. We think we are the form. The way I am looking, this is what Meherisa means. That's what we think. But the way I am looking, the body that gives me some kind of shape, it is only my cover. This is my body, this is my hand, this is my leg, this is my head. I am different from my head. I am different from my hand. Is it not? I am different. That is what originally I am.
Atma.
Atma. Very good. I do not have the shape. I do not have the color. This body has the color. This body has the shape. Because we are associating with this shape and how we express through this body, because of that one we give overwhelming importance to the death. Because the shape is becoming, shape is disappearing. We can't see that shape anymore. That is why we are giving overwhelming importance. Death from the angle of grief, Baba is giving the perception. Why do we have to feel sorry if somebody dies? Is the question, first of all. We know very well, if mosquito bites us, immediately we are going to react by slapping it. And we will feel successful, satisfied, disappointed if it is not there, if it escapes. Right? Whereas the same mosquito, if it bites the dead body doesn't show any reaction, not even a shivering. So we know that the mosquito bite is not causing any pain to the dead body. So dead body is free from the pain. When the deceased person is not experiencing any pain, why should we feel the pain? Suppose if our child broke his leg in the games, he jumped from the wall and then he broke his leg. It is reasonable to feel the pain, empathize with our child, because the kid is suffering. We share the suffering through the empathy. Correct? That is reasonable. But the deceased person, no pain. Why should we feel the pain? Why are we sorry? Baba says, the root, listen this carefully, at the end of this session we will have the quiz and some questions will come out on these concepts. So Baba says, the root cause of suffering due to death is all your own selfishness. Bluntly Baba put it. Baba does not hesitate to tell the truth. But Baba does not care about how you feel about that statement. He tells the truth perfectly, 100%. It is because of your selfishness you are feeling sorry about it. You are crying on the dead body only because of your selfishness. Death suddenly changes the situation of the family, especially when the earning person dies. And the wife is not educated, she cannot find a job. Children are there. Wife has to take care of the education and marriage and so many other things. Food, clothing, everything. So she is worried. That worry, overwhelming worry, turns out into crying. So it is not because of that deceased person is experiencing the pain or suffering. We know that the person is not experiencing the suffering. We are not feeling sorry why this guy is not able to eat tiffin just like we ate the tiffin this morning. We are not feeling sorry because we are enjoying the TV serials and movies and this guy can no longer enjoy the TV serials. That's not our worry, is it? That's not the case, correct? We are worried about the unexpected load on us, unexpected responsibilities on us, unexpected challenges on us. How to face those, how to solve, how to move forward in the life. It is about us. If we are worried about us, it is nothing but selfishness. So the root cause of grief towards the death is nothing but selfishness. This grief will be at various degrees compared to poor families, middle class families and rich families. In poor families, the grief is going to be maximum because it is the biggest challenge for them. They are poor, they don't have money. Rich people have at least money, they can meet the expenses. Whereas poor people, they don't have the resources to continue the life the way they have been living. So it is a bigger burden on them to face those challenges. So they beat their chests, they cry loud, they make a big fuss out of it. It is all because of the unexpected, sudden, overwhelming challenges that life has brought through this death. It's not because of about the deceased person, it is about us. Whereas this grief is going to be moderate in the middle class families. In the middle class families, those people do not cry that exuberantly. They do not make a big fuss out of it. They still suffer. But the grief level is not as much as it is there in the poor families. Whereas in the rich families, where everybody is equipped with properties, money, backups, even the wife doesn't have to care about children. Children already have acres of land or crores of monies in the fixed deposits. They have enough resources. So the mother does not have to worry about it, how I have to take care of this family. That how is already resolved. So the grief will be there, but it will not be as high as in the other categories. We missed the loving person, that grief will be there. But we don't have the other challenges. Resource challenge is not there. Right? So the grief is going to be lesser in the rich families. So by this we can easily understand that all this grief is only because of our challenges, our pain. We are not worried about the deceased person. So that's why Baba says, the root cause of the grief is only selfishness. When we know that death is imminent, inevitable, what we have to do is, we have to be prepared to face the situation simply. Whether you cry or not, the challenge is going to be there in front of you, you have to solve it. Whether you cry or not, you still have to upbring your children somehow. You have to send them to the school, you have to get them married. Just because you are crying, will you attract any money? Everybody will give sympathy only, not money. Correct? So this understanding lightens our burden towards the death. We can handle the situation of the death much easier compared to before. That is how this understanding is helpful for us. So thus Baba gives various perspectives around the death to help us, to educate us, to enlighten us with the information of the reality, so that we can take the death lightly, not so seriously. So now we are looking at the journey of the life. Baba said, before we are human beings, we lived like all kinds of animals you can think of, including dinosaurs. And before that, all kinds of birds, all kinds of aquatics, all kinds of vegetation. Kotimilga, you were that. Today you are putting into your seasoning. Okay. Before the vegetation we were metals and stones. So as human beings, We are far, 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 far advanced than the stones and metals. But even though we are that highly advanced, we haven't lost the admiration of the stones and metals. We are still after them. You get the point, right? Okay, so now coming back to the point. Baba said, once we take the human life, after completing all the animal lives for the very first time, we have to go through 84 lakhs of human life cycles, and we will never be an animal or a bird or a tree. People sometimes, they curse us if we do something wrong, or if they don't like us. We don't have to do the wrong thing. If they don't like us, they curse us saying that you will be born as a pig, you will be born as a donkey. They curse us. That never happens. Spirituality, Baba said, it is always progressive, it is never regressive. Exceptionally, it may happen, like the Durvasa Muni, those kind of rishis, out of anger, if they misuse their powers, yes, it is possible, you may become an animal or even a stone, like Ahalya. Those are extremely exceptional cases, we don't need to think about it. In a general, regular, default process, it is always progress forward. But we have to go through 84 lakhs of life cycles. Let us assume this is the first human life. We just entered into the human era, completing all the animal lives. If we die, what is going to happen? How many lives are left to cover? Mathematics. Total 84 lakhs. And now today I died. So I completed one human life. How many more are left? 84 lakhs minus 1. Simple math, right? 83 lakhs, 99,999. And I get the second birth as a human being. And in the second birth, I experience the life differently. And then again, I face the death. Now what is the math? 84 lakhs minus 2. Third death, 84 lakhs minus 3. So every time when I am dying, what is happening? The number is reducing. The remaining life cycles that I have to go through is reducing. At the end of the 84 lakhs life cycles, I experience my divinity. I experience that I am God. That is the goal. After that, no more births and deaths. That's the goal. We all will reach. So every time I am dying, I am going one step closer to the divinity that I already have today. We all have the divinity within us today. We are all God today. All human beings are qualified gods. No doubt about it, according to Baba. But we don't experience that. We don't have that experience. We only have the knowledge because Baba said so. Right? And the experience comes when we complete all the 84 lakhs life cycles. That means we are, every death is taking us one step closer to our own divinity. If your child gets gold medal in Olympics, how excited you will be looking at that accomplishment. I'm not seeing any change in the faces. Your child got the gold medal in the Olympics. Imagine that achievement. How exciting it is, right? So, multiply that Olympic gold medal with billions number. That's the Godhood. Olympic gold medal is nothing compared to the Godhood. So we are going closer to that Godhood. The highest achievement anybody in the universe can get is the Godhood. So, yes.
Shortcuts.
Shortcuts. Shortcuts, in the interest of time, I will reserve that. We will cover in the next session. We will cover the exceptions, shortcuts in the next session. In the interest of time, I am covering the selected topics. Remind me in the next session. So, death is nearing us to our divinity. So, it is a pleasant news for us, is it not? We didn't know this before. That's why we are worried. That's why the grief.
Sir, now you ask the question, sir.
Yes.
You are afraid of death.
Me?
No, you should ask everyone.
No. Now you should ask that question.
Oh, okay. Having known these facts right from the horse mouth, the highest of the high, he wants me to ask you the question, are you afraid of the death now?
No. No, you should ask her particularly. If she agrees, everybody agrees.
She is already planned.
Yes.
Is there an exception for that 84 lakh births?
She asked the
Next session.
Okay, sorry, I cannot stop myself from asking this because Baba had one dog by name Mastan who Baba used to feed. And Baba said after this life I will make sure he will come as a human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel that it will be unfair in part of Mastan to take another 84 lakhs because Baba fed him. Okay, what if just one birth and he goes back to Godhead?
Correct. Very good, very genuine concern. Very genuine concern. Yes, there are exceptions, but I am not covering in this session. In the interest of time, I have selected some topics. I want to cover those before the end of the session. Definitely, we are going to cover in the following session exceptions. She also asked
She asked
shortcuts, and you are asking exceptions.
No, I am asking the grace. Like
The grace.
I'm not looking for going from the back side of the door.
Okay.
You know how to make it possible to accept that grace and
Okay. Oh, okay. You want to prepare yourself to receive the grace. Very good. Good thought. Please remind me in the next session. Definitely we will cover that. So, by saying this, what Baba is saying is, listen carefully. Death is as auspicious as birth. Death is as auspicious as birth. You are taking a new birth. Means you have just completed one number, you have subtracted one number from the 84 lakhs. Birth is also a stepping stone. And death is yet another one more minus. So both birth and death processes are advancing you in the spiritual path, making you closer and closer to your divinity. So death is as auspicious as birth. We celebrate and we mourn the death because of ignorance. Because general public do not know it, because of their selfishness, because of the ignorance of these spiritual facts that we are learning today, they express the grief. We don't need to. It is an auspicious moment. Does not mean that we should celebrate and do a party if our family member dies, but we maintain balance on that day. And for the next 3 days, if we spend the time praying God, doing bhajans, repeating God's name, it is spiritually beneficial for all the singers as well as the deceased person, Baba said. That is what we are supposed to. Instead of crying over the dead body, we have to control ourselves, we have to balance our emotions. Instead, spend the time singing bhajans, repeating God's name. It is spiritually beneficial, whoever sing, as well as the deceased person. There also I will give you lots of details in the next session. There also I will give you lots of. The death that we know, really an end to all the means is the question. And the answer is no. In the beginning, we defined the life as a duration between birth and death. This is the general perception, not necessarily the truth. Then what is the truth? The truth is, life is larger than this duration, Baba says. Life is larger than this duration. How large? We just talked about it. As a human being, we have to go through 84 lakhs of life cycles. That long life we have to live as human beings. That long is the life. Now, add the animal lives that we have already covered. How many thousands of years we spent living as different animals? We lived as animals. We talked about it, right? We lived. That is also our life. Let's take that also into the account. Now, how big is the life? Are only animals? Do we have to add anything else?
Yes. Birds.
Before the animals, how did we live? How did we live life? We lived like birds, aquatics, vegetation. Even before that, metals and stones. This is all our life. The life is that large. Then what is this death that we are all worried about until today? Baba called it as a false death. It is not a real death. It is only a false death. Death happens only to this physical body, not to us. We do not die. We continue to live. How do we continue to live? Next session. The fact is, we continue to live. And then we take a different form and experience different life on the same earth. Again, we drop that body and take yet another form. Through that form, we experience life differently on the same earth. So these enrich our human experience. Taking the forms, dropping the forms, why all this fuss? It is only to enrich our human life. It is only to gain the perfection in the human life. The perfect human being is God. Simple. We are imperfect human beings. That is why we have to take different forms and experience the life differently and enrich our human experience. And that enrichment brings the perfection to our life. And then we experience as God. Make sense? So, life is much larger than what we think, than the duration between one birth and one death. The so-called death is only a false death, the real death. The real death is the last death at the end of 84 lakhs of life cycles. That death is the real death. Then you are free from these forms. You have gained enough perfection, adequate perfection. You don't need any more bodies. The last body whenever you drop, the last death whenever you die at the end of 84 lakhs life cycles, that is the real death. Rejecting the form forever, that is the real death. This intermediate death is only a false death. The real birth is our first birth as stone. Before the stone, did we live or did we die? Did we live before the stone?
Yes.
We lived before the stone also. But taking the first stone form, before the stone, we didn't have the form. We were formless. We were living without form. And have taken the first form as a stone. That first form, when we take, that is the starting of our life. First birth, and it's the beginning of our life. And it goes on and on until the 84 lakhs of human life cycles. Then comes the real death. Between the real birth and real death is what is called as evolution, reincarnations and involution. So all these births are false births. We celebrate with cake, cutting the cake every birthday is a false birth. Your real birthday was when you took the stone form for the very first time. That's the real birthday. But before that, did we live or did we die? We lived as formless. We lived as God. After the last death, do we continue to live or we die forever and then that's the end of all? We continue to live without form. So there is never an end to the living. We never die. It is only our form dying. Why this form is dying this many times? It is only to enrich our experience in this illusion. It is only to gain the perfection and through experience feel that I am God. For that purpose, we have to face through so many false births and false deaths. To understand the significance of death, let us understand what is happening at the time of death. We just mentioned that only the form is changing. Let's get into the technical details now. Only the physical body we keep dropping. In addition to physical body, what are the things we carry is the question. We have mind. We remember what we ate for the breakfast. Only our mind is helping to remember that. That's a memory storage. Correct? We have a life force in us which is helping to digest that idli that we ate in the morning. We only know how to eat the idli. After that, we don't know what to do with it once it goes inside. How to convert that into blood, how to convert that into energy, we don't know that, right? But our life force knows that bit. So we don't need to worry about it. Our job is only to load it up to the neck. Okay? So we have physical body, mental body, and the life force, what we call as subtle body. Subtle body, right? We also have one more thing called as consciousness. Whoever answers the question, who are you? I am so and so. If you can give the answer, that means you have the consciousness. When you are in a deep sleep, your consciousness is also sleeping with you. Suddenly if I tap and then ask who are you, you won't be able to answer quickly. It takes few seconds for you to come to your consciousness. Then only you can answer it. Correct? Without tapping, if I ask who are you, if I ask a deep sleep person, he won't even care to respond because his consciousness is not working. Right? So we have consciousness also. So this is the formula. What we are means we are truly the soul. Yeah. Otherwise it is called as spirit. It is the soul. That is what we are truly. And this soul has four things: 3 bodies and consciousness. In these 3 bodies, one is visible, which is the physical body. 2 are invisible bodies. So this is our formula. In this formula, at the time of death, only the physical body dies, nothing else, until we get the God realization. By the time we get the God realization, soul remains and all the other bodies die. Does the consciousness die at the time of God realization? No. So eventually we will end up with soul plus consciousness. That's the goal. Everything else we have to drop. Everything else we have to live. Sorry?
Knowing consciously that we are God.
Exactly. Exactly. So like how we reject the turned out clothes and put on the new dresses, the soul, which is we are, our true reality, drops these bodies once we are done with the purpose of the body. Now I am careful with my body. So when we drop the body, we take the new body. We keep on taking the new bodies throughout this journey until we gain the perfection. And it is told in Bhagavad Gita, In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna said, your digested body will be replaced. God did not say, you will be replaced, you will be dying. No. He clearly said, only your digested body will be dying. So we have evidence from Bhagavad Gita also. So Baba, through Bhagavad Gita, when he came as Lord Krishna, revealed the nature of the soul. In the previous sloka, we understood the nature of the body, physical body. And the nature of soul is also revealed by saying that you cannot cut the soul with knife or sword. You can cut the physical body. You can cut the mind. Mind bleeds, it hurts. Pain, suffering is there, is experienced by the mind. Soul does not experience the pain when you stab somebody. And you cannot exhaust the soul like how the wind exhausts the fire, like how the water exhausts the fire. You cannot exhaust and terminate the soul. So, in this sloka, God gave only 4 examples. It doesn't mean that there may be a 5th method to exhaust the soul. No, these are just a sample examples. By no means you can exhaust the soul. That is the essence of that sloka. So, concluding, summarizing, this significance of death is as auspicious as birth. One takeaway. And what else we learned? You guys tell me.
Stepping stone. It's a progress.
Death is a stepping stone. Death is a progress. Death is auspicious. What else? Edavakudu. Excellent. Give her a big round of applause. That's the most important thing. Keep all your knowledge aside. When somebody dies, edavakudu, pray the God, sing the song, sing the name. That's all. Simple. Very good.
Expect you to cry.
We can change that culture. You're right. You're right. Neighbors expect you to cry, not just simple crying.
Everybody.
Right. So we, knowing the truth, do we believe in relatives or do we believe in Baba? Your choice. Your choice. If you strongly believe in Baba, don't do what the relatives say, but do what Baba says. Baba said, pray God, sing devotional songs. That's what Baba is saying. Do we listen to God or do we listen to the neighbors? It is our choice. Alright? So these are the takeaways about the significance of death. Inka bhai unda maranam. One more time.